Legitimizing oppression. The harder people try to work within any political system to achieve freedom, the more they will reinforce in their own minds and in the minds of anyone watching is that the system is legitimate. Petitioning politicians to change their laws implies that those laws matter and should be obeyed. Nothing better shows the power of the belief in authority than the spectacle of 100 million people begging a few hundred politicians for lower taxes. If the people truly understood that the fruits of a man's labor are his own, they would never engage in such lunacy. They would simply stop surrendering their property to political parasites. Their trained in desire to have the approval of authority creates in them a mindset not unlike the mindset of a slave. They literally feel bad about keeping their own money and making their own choices without first getting the master's permission to do so. Even when freedom is theirs for the taking, statists continue to grovel at the feet of megalomaniacs begging for freedom, thus ensuring they will never be free. The truth is, one cannot believe in authority and be free, because accepting the myth of government is accepting one's own subjugation to obey a master, which means accepting one's own enslavement. Sadly, many people believe that begging the master via political action is all they can do, so they forever engage in rituals which only legitimize the slave-master relationship instead of simply disobeying the tyrants. The idea of disobeying authority, breaking the law, and being criminals is more disturbing to them than the idea of being a slave. Those who want a significantly lower level of authoritarian control and coercion are sometimes accused of being anti-government, an allegation most vehemently deny, saying that they're not against government per se, but only want better government. But by their own words, they are admitting that they do not believe in true freedom, but still believe in the divine right of politicians and the idea that a ruling class can be a good and legitimate thing. Only someone who still feels an abiding obligation to obey the commands of politicians would want to avoid being labeled anti-government. Since government always consists of aggression and domination, one cannot be truly pro-freedom without being anti-government. The fact that so many activists reject that label, anti-government, shows how deeply ingrained the superstition of authority remains, even in the minds of those who imagine themselves to be ardent advocates of individual liberty. One particular fascinating phenomenon is worth mentioning here. Outraged by authoritarian injustice, but still unwilling to give up the authority superstition in themselves, many in the growing freedom, militia, patriot movement continue to seek or claim to have found some legal remedy which will persuade tyrants to leave them in peace. Over the years, one theory or another has surfaced alleging the existence of some secret government form or legal trick or some official procedure which can free an individual from the control of government. Sadly, this demonstrates only that such people are still doing nothing more than looking for a way to get permission to be free. But the road to true freedom has never been and never will be a new political ritual, a new legal argument, or any form of political action. The only road to true freedom is for the individual to let go his own attachment to the superstition of authority.